Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about game preservation. One of the best examples of a well-preserved platform, in my opinion, is the Game Boy Color. What's nice about this is that as long as you have the cartridge that contains the game and the console that plays the cartridge, you can go ahead and finish the game from start to finish. Now this is true even until the PlayStation 3 generation, because in this generation, while Sony did introduce the PlayStation Store, most titles came on disc. PlayStation 4 saw some changes to this format, where the cartridge, or the disc here, would contain the game, but it would copy over that game so you can run it from a faster media, which is your internal hard drive and sometimes SSDs. But what came with this era of gaming was also larger games and studios not knowing how to set deadlines for these games. What I like about complete editions all the way from the start is that not only did you get the patched version of the game, you also got any DLCs that came after the launch of the game. Unfortunately, as a lot of people who play on consoles have noticed, none of the games over the last few years have been complete. Every single game that you get on launch would be playable on the disc, but immediately within the first day of release would have updates that you need to apply and download over the internet. Until now, every title that gets launched in a physical format is a disc. For the PlayStation 3 and 4, they are called Blu-ray discs, as you can see right here. And for PlayStation 5, since PlayStation 4 titles were getting so massive and required 2 discs, they decided to go with larger capacity Blu-ray discs called Ultra HD Blu-ray, as shown here. 2 different icons, 2 different formats. Physical media is still read-only. See, I don't anticipate games and game development studios to ever get to the point again where they can just launch a finished game consistently. There's going to be the one-off studio that does that, but I'm really not counting on the rest of the studios to abide by that rule anymore. Given that that's changing, I do think that media needs to change as well. There's been a big push for going all digital, given these problems that exist with launch dates. While it's not the main reason for companies to want to go all digital, it's a benefit that comes with just downloading the game off the internet, because the only copy that exists is the one that you download, and that copy, as long as you're connected to the internet, is fairly up to date. If any of these companies tomorrow choose to go under, you can't play that game anymore. I have another solution here. It's a little experiment I conducted based on my Steam console that I built the other day. It's something that I was inspired by looking at the way SD cards can be used on the Steam Deck, and I just thought to myself if we could expand this to other forms of storage. This one right here is an HP SSD. It's the HP S7000. It's a 250 gigabyte SSD, and I decided to install my copy of Red Dead Redemption onto this drive. Now the disk I use is basically an extension of my Steam library, so we need a way to automatically mount the disk when inserted. To do this, I used this script written by this developer, and you can find all the information on this particular GitHub page. It's easy to install and also pretty easy to uninstall if you want to undo your changes. Do consider supporting this developer by watching their video, as they also explain how this process works in detail. The way we use this physical media is very similar to an old school console. I just go ahead and slot the cartridge into the dock, and you can see that the game goes from install to play as it recognizes an installed copy on that cartridge. At this point, since it's a fully installed version, you can just hit play and boot right into the game. Another advantage of using solid-state media, such as SD cards or SSDs, is that games actually play faster off of this media in comparison to Blu-ray discs like we had back on the PS3 era. This means that you could have the entire game up to date on this disc and play it like you did back in the day with your Nintendo cartridges. Tests on the Steam Deck actually indicated that games that ran off of its internal SSD versus games running off of SD cards saw little to no difference in load times or performance. If the SSD was faster, it was only by a second or so and did not really impact gameplay. Unmounting cartridges and drives is actually built into the Steam Deck and into Steamos because that's how you would unmount any drive or SD card. The way it plays out in practice is extremely similar to how it played out for me on this platform. You have a game cartridge that contains the full game and a console that can play that cartridge. If gaming does move in this direction, I believe we can definitely have complete versions of games as they get updated. A lot of video games could be considered art, and I do believe that just like other forms of media, they do deserve preservation. Given how good a lot of the last 20 years have been for video games in terms of some fantastic titles that have come out, I do think we need to think about how we go about using storage media as a way to preserve video games. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Please hit that like button. I do plan on making more videos like these, so if you like that and you subscribe, maybe you'll like the next video that I make. Please do comment down below what you think about this whole situation. What do you think about the fact that Spider-Man 2, when you buy the collector's edition, does not come with the disc, even though they do sell a disc version of the game? I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I hopefully will see you all in the next one.